Real with Omar Season 2. Today's special guest, thank you for joining us from the West Coast. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. Thanks. Good morning. Armando Tam. Long time friend. I know you about 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
We met through NARAP and we've just maintained a relationship during all those years, cross country, across the states. And I'm very, very, very honored to have you on my show. Thank you for agreeing to do this with me. And we have a lot to talk about.
I want to say good morning, and it's an honor to be on your show. I've admired you from day one, your hustle, ambition, execution, bro. So It's an honor.
Thank you, babe. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Well, let's talk about the first time I met you, just to give people some context, right? So I had joined NARAP Rochester in like 97 and 2017. Yeah, that's the word. That's the year. And I met you at one of the events. I think you swore us in as a board. And you know how like you meet somebody and for lack of a better word, you'd be like, yo, I can fuck with this dude. I think the vibrations were there. And you've always been somebody to help, kind of like guide me in the right direction when I was working in that environment, because you were like the OG in that environment.
Well, I met you, and what I saw was someone that would make quick decisions to get it done. Yeah. And I admire that, because people get stuck on complaining. Right. And I was like, who is this dude? Coming in here, making sure he's a team player, making sure the team is good, but then handling things behind the scenes to make sure they don't always have to be in camera. Yeah. And so I admired your genuine personality and characteristic that day. I
appreciate that, man. That's the owner operator in me. Like, I guess us being, owners of our own business, I can only speak for myself. I run 4 platforms right now, right? So I have to make decisions quick, and if they're bad, then I'll just correct the decision. If they're good, then we made it. So that's kind of how I look at it, and that's kind of how I look at life. But I do have a question for you now that we talked about that. You fly globally, basically, or within the United States, let's say that, and you meet a lot of different people. How long does it usually take for you to kind of identify whether, this guy's a real dude, or he might be somebody I got to coach a little more, or her a little more? How long does that usually take?
So there's no time frame, but it's a very good question. So, for example, I believe characters when nobody's watching. That day, you and I didn't plan to meet. No. So I saw you in your element. If I have a schedule to meet somebody, or somebody wants to meet me, then it's a little different mentality. It's a little bit more 1003 fact check, right? Right. So I would say that time reveals the majority of who someone is. But because I guess I've been fortunate to deal with so much of that, I would say that I'm pretty quick. I think 1, it could be the first time there's adversity. 2, it could be the first time you have to say no to somebody. 3, I would say within 90 days, man, because you can't keep up a lie. It's hard to keep up a lie for people. So I would say 90 days, but sometimes it could be quicker. And I gave you your example, characters when nobody's watching, man. And so I'm a big observer. I'm always a student of the game. I want to be the brokest and dumbest in the room. So I'm always observing.
The brokest and dumbest in the room. So you have a couple of things going on. I know you work as the VP of NARAP. You also have a cookbook coming out. I saw you do a few shows. So wait, let me finish. Let me ask a question. So are you a chef recreationally or professionally? Because I want people to know.
I'm a chef recreationally, no culinary skill, self-taught, but because of organizations like NARAP that teach me about business execution, business building, like you're an owner. I could tell you, hey, we want to go sell plants, because right now during COVID, everyone loves plants. You and I are going to look at it and say, how much can we get it for? How do we create a marketing plan? How do we execute? And how do we create content? So, I've been in real estate and housing the majority of my life. And before that, I got, I love cooking. I auditioned for the Food Network, 15 years ago. I used to dance. I performed with Will Smith.
Shout out to Will in case he's watching.
Yeah, shout out to Will. The thing about that is I want to take my passions into profession. Right? I love what I do at NARAP. I love what I do because it's a trade association educating Latinos. And I was in real estate too. Yeah. Pero eso me encanta. Right. So now I'm like, you know what? I don't see a Jay-Z for Latinos.
Absolutely.
I don't see what is possible when I see what like Diddy and Jay are doing for the African American or Black community. So instead of complaining, I want to do it. And so it leads into the cookbook, because it's not about teaching everybody how to cook. It's about the collaboration. So I collaborated with a sommelier, right? Which are very few out there. And this sommelier happens to be Black.
Okay.
And so I did some dishes for entertainment, not cultural, because I believe that we need to smile more in society. I believe que tenemos que estar más contento. It's like the old days when we grew up. We were talking earlier when having dinner around the dinner table. That doesn't exist nowadays. So maybe with this book and my recipes, we can do that. But we also wine paired every dish with winemakers that are Latino or Black, and they produce less than 500 cases. Oh, so I didn't just go promote a corporation. Right. I said, let me go to these small business owners. Let me make sure the wine is good first.
Right.
And then I'm going to fact check you to make sure your production is boutique, because we want to support those. And so I'm very proud of that cookbook and wine pairing with the sommelier and winemakers of color. And again, no one's going to tell me I can, and we can't give someone else that power to tell us what we should focus on, you know?
Yeah.
Listen, so it's called It's a Vibe.
It's a Vibe? Where can people buy this book?
So you're going to be able to get on Instagram, direct. I would say November. We want to make sure for December, they're the best gifts you can give somebody, because it's not a cookbook about me.
Right.
It's about a collaboration between Black and brown.
Right.
It's a collaboration between talent. It's a collaboration within people that makes it look possible, that anyone can achieve what their passion is, you know?
I think there's a lot of like in today's society, there's such a pursuit of inspiration. But I think what people don't really talk about is the art. And the art, to me, the art is the execution, right? Like, having an idea is cool. Listening to Gary Vee is cool. He makes some good points. But then how do you turn away from your screen and then apply whatever it is you learned to your life to make your life better, instead of waiting for some sort of, I don't know, some secret guest mystery DM to change your life? When do you take it within your own hands and say, hey, man, I don't like this. I'm going to change this. This is what I'm going to do. Here's my plan. And maybe get around other people like-minded that want to do things like that.
Well, that's excellent point. Mm-hmm. People are caught up on the inspiration, and it's cool. But what's cooler is execution, right? That is much cooler. So until you change that mindset belief, you're not really going to change your behavior, right? So you're right. You and I can watch a Gary Vee, and we're like, you know what? That's cool. Everyone's like, oh my God, and they'll repost it. You and I are probably like, hold up. How can I apply that? How can I execute that? And that's the owner mentality in you. Mm-hmm. You've got to pay bills. You've got to execute. Right. You don't really care about social media validation, right? And the same thing with me. I'm harder on myself. It's 100% my fault.
Right.
If I don't succeed at that's the bottom line. Now, I do have a little bit of jacked up in me, is that I use frustration as motivation. I use anger as motivation. And I have to learn how to change that. But so far, that's what drives me, you know? Like, we talk about what the Black community has done to support each other, the Jewish model. And I think for Latinos, we need new faces. Because I think the previous, guard did what they had to do. Ahora para el futuro, se necesita las caras nuevas to collab, because they really haven't. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to complain and point fingers. I'm going to create and build, collab, coast to coast, what we're doing.
Here we are. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
I didn't want that to come off a little bit, angry, but I do, out of due respect para la gente ante nosotros.
Yeah.
It's now time for us to create our own table, our own restaurant, meaning, how seat the table. Mm-hmm. I literally say, forget being at that table. Let's go to our own restaurant that we own, and let's bring the right players, from media to sports to business to culture, to film. And
I absolutely agree, but I'm going to touch on something. I think the old guard, and I identify them with maybe using my mom's story as an immigrant come from Puerto Rico, not knowing English, having to start from the bottom. I think they get kind of, and I'm not, if I start getting some hate shit in my DMs, it's all good. But I believe that because there were so few of us, right? When they make it, they're like, oh shit, how do I stay here? And how do I maintain it, right? It becomes, how do I maintain it? Not so much as striving forward and to keep like trailblazing. I think that's what happened. Now, the one thing I will say is that what's changed dramatically over the last 5 years, 5 to 7 years, incredibly, has been the point of access, right? Like somebody like me or you with a little bit of IQ and a couple of dollars can make their own show. Because the reason I did the show, just to be honest with you, is that there's nobody looking like me, talking intelligently like me about shit I want to hear. So eventually I was like, fuck that. I know some pretty cool people. let me do the fucking show. And that's exactly how we got here. I'm using what you said, and I'm unboxing it because you're absolutely right. There's not enough people saying, hey man, I like your point of view. I like your vibe. I like your swag. I want you on the show. No, like no strings attached, right? That is what I don't see enough of. What we do for a living, right, is one thing, but this to me is more of a collaboration for growth as a movement entirely, right? We take off our hats of what we do, and this is who we are, and that's what most people don't understand yet. I don't.
Yeah, I agree. You wanted to create what you want, and it lacks in the industry. And if more people thought like that, think about how much more creating, collaborating, building would be done instead of social media complaining, cancel culture. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So there's nothing is perfect. So it's like I say tres leches, right? I love tres leches. It's delicious, but it's not good for me every day. Right. So you got to learn that there's no perfection to anything. And so I love what you're doing. And that's why when you hit me up, I was like, yo, this is great. Let's do it, because there needs to be more people that look like us, hablando como nosotros, en una plataforma so everyone can have it accessible on their phone.
En los dos idiomas. Let's touch on en los dos idiomas, because that's another thing too that I mean, for a while, I'm gonna touch a little bit of racism now. When I was younger, like, if you told people your parents spoke Spanish in the house instead of English, you gotta look. They looked at you like you were less than.
Yeah.
So I think that's starting to change.
No, I'm with you on that. And I'm very fortunate, that my parents still make us speak Spanish at home. But I feel you. And what you dealt with and what I dealt with back then, being made fun of, today is called bullying. Right. So we overcame it. Let me ask you that. How did you overcome it growing up, being made fun of?
Harden up. You just harden up, bro. It's like anything. You just harden up, man. Like, it is what you got to look. And you know what? The best, I had an example from one of my professors at NYU one time. He was like, look, one day I was going to visit a friend. I saw these two kids on the stoop, and one kid was making fun of the other kid. And he asked him, he was a white guy. He goes, hey, why are you making fun of your friend? Like, he's like, oh, we're just snapping. We're just having fun, a good time. He goes, yeah, but maybe you make him feel bad. He goes, well, if he can't take it from me, he won't be able to take it from anybody. Yep. And that was the hardest thing a 6-year-old, 7-year-old could tell somebody. Like, this is back in the 90s when I was in college from 92, 97. And that was in the 90s, but that's where we grew up. There was no bullying. There was no protection. There was no cops coming to the school.
Listen, I was in ESL. I look Chinese. My name is Armando Jose. I have big ears. There's no way I wasn't gonna get fucking bullied, right? But you're right. You gotta harden up. And I always think about what we're talking about and how it can be translated into action, right? And for people watching, the world is never gonna be perfect. So take it from what he said is harden up. Mm-hmm. Don't give someone that power to change your life. Don't harden up. You know what I mean? That's it. I love that.
Yeah, we're talking about all these little kids that are on social media and they're all, like depressed or they're suicidal because they're getting bullied. Yo, turn it off. Disconnect the app, bitch. Like, it's really that simple. But for some reason, I feel that people overcomplicate it. Like, all of a sudden, we can't disattach. Oh my God, yo, it's a phone. You can take the app off your phone. If it's
Don't give someone that power. Don't give someone that power. Laugh at them. That's why I call out gente fea every morning on my Instagram.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's fucking awesome. La gente fea que se jodan.
Yeah, gente, listen, the two most powerful things that you can do, that anyone can have, is a smile and to remind yourself that you're blessed. So son las dos cosas que you can get. Don't cost nothing. You don't have to harden up for that. Mm-hmm. But I also call out gente fea because, people are calling out innocent people. Gente fea are not ugly people. Gente fea are ugly on the inside. Mm-hmm. Bullies. Racists, the ones that make fun of people with access, the ones who make fun of people like our parents who came here for a better quality of life.
Made them feel comfortable.
I finally put it on them, and you and I put it on that. We be kind, right? So we're kind of hard right now, but at the end of the day, I see you're one of the most kind people. You're a great father. Mm-hmm. You're passionate about business and you're passionate about the community.
Yeah. I tell my kids all the time, if you make more, your duty is to do more. Like I was telling my kids one day, I was like, why do you think superheroes save people? And they were like, I don't know. I was like, because they can. I was like, if you're the stronger athlete, you're supposed to help that kid who's not as strong. And I try to put that in their head in my house because, I mean, you're not with your kids all the time. I mean, I don't know if you have kids, but, you know, they're a reflection of you. You have no idea how racism is systemic, where it comes from seeing what the dad did and the dad saw what the granddad did. And it just becomes culture in the house.
Yeah, no, I agree 150% on that. You know what I mean? So I appreciate these kind of conversations because people should be looking at your podcast, this episode, like a cookbook. You always go back to it.
Right. A lot of ingredients.
We're having so many sound bites. So I appreciate that.
No, absolutely, man. So let's talk about a little bit about Players Club. Can we talk about that?
Oh, let's see. A passion project. I love basketball.
Me too.
We partnered up with a group. So the Players Club is like a one-day event I want to bring to the West Coast. It's all passion, right? I love basketball. So some partners and I, Gary Acosta, George, some partners, we created, a sports management agency because the, Supreme Court passed a ruling, NIL means name, image, and likeness. College players can now make money. And think about what we talked about earlier, systemic racism. Mm-hmm. Think about how shitty deal it was for these athletes who make these colleges a lot of money. They're on TV, jerseys, boosters, ticket sales.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Underserved communities, and they don't have any money. So now they're allowed to make money based upon their name, image, and likeness. So we believe in giving back through passion too, right? So we love basketball, man. Gary's a big basketball guy, and he played professionally. His son played. He played for Pops, right, at Pomona. And I love the culture. I love the NBA. And so we're now going to help these kids from Latin America come to this country, aprender el idioma, aprender la cultura.
You said the Players Club is a passion project.
So basically the partners and I got together and we're going to help these kids from Latin America come to this country, aprender el idioma, go to school, get educated, and go either play overseas or the NBA.
Yeah.
But what we're doing for them is we're bringing people and rewriting the narrative as well, right? Because we're changing their lives. We're creating a good business, but they're going to go back to their countries or stay in America with a better quality of life.
Mm-hmm. And educated.
You look at the NBA today, how many European players are there, right? So Remember what I was telling you, bro, I don't reinvent the wheel. Si me gusta and there's a business opportunity, they can coexist.
Right.
I think
two pillars that coexist.
When you talk about building wealth, you talk about making money, that it's not from the genuine heart. No, they can coexist and they're equally important, right? Passion, fulfillment, and making money. So we're starting now. We're going to make a big announcement coming out this year's season. And the Players Club, going back to that, I want to bring Rutgers Park. I learned so much in East Coast, man. 20 years ago, my first time in New York, I was 21, 22, man. And let me tell you, it impacted me. A lot of the holidays I spent out there. So to me, it's normal to have pernil, for a Christmas with my Nicaraguan dishes, right? And so I'm like, if we can bring Rutgers Park to the West, and we call it Players Club, and that is going to be pro, college, international players. It's going to be hype. It's going to be hype. Y la mayoría de la gente se viene como nosotros, right? So that's what I'm really excited about, is because when we can impact the culture and create a good business, think about what I said in the beginning of the podcast. I didn't see a Jay-Z for Latinos.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's not enough big thinkers, right? Or going back to what you said, like the previous guard, they were just so happy to be there. I really believe that. They would, oh shit, I got in. Let me just how do I maintain this? Where the paradigm shift should be, and I think with the expansion of the internet and access, because before, remember, you would never see two brown guys on the TV talking real fucking intelligent shit.
Yeah.
We'd either be the pimp or the murderer in the show, because people don't understand how crazy it gets when you start seeing visuals where all you see on TV are Puerto Ricans. They steal cars, they steal hubcaps. I don't know if you remember that back in the day in New York, that was like the joke of your Puerto Rican stole hubcap, because the narrative was perpetuated through the visual platform of TV, and there were gatekeepers, right? So they instilled the narrative, they instilled the stereotype, and reinforced it through image. And like I said, with this little show of mine, and I'm sure there's a lot of other shows that I'll collaborate with in the future, that brown people are smart too.
Yep.
Right? Like, fucking spoiler alert, brother.
That's what's wrong with building a business parallel with it at the same time. Right? Because that's how we change people, man. is through action. The majority of people are followers by osmosis.
The majority of people are herds. Right.
So even it depends in the room too. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm in a room, I want to be the dumbest and brokest because I want to learn. You know, I don't want to be the ugliest because we're some good looking dudes, right? But I always tell people like we always have, man, and unfortunately we can't learn what's possible if we don't see it.
Right.
So we need to see these shows. We need to see Latinos prospering that are cool, that are have their social responsibility, but they're also making loot. Hay que tener todo eso, at least.
In the past, it was seen that if you're making money, you're not real. And I think we're starting to see now that, hey, man, I'm a businessman.
Let me ask you this. Would you like to have met, if you could meet Jay-Z, would you have liked to have met him, the Blueprint album or who Jay-Z is today?
Absolutely now. But I'll say now because he has access to things that I don't have access to yet, and I can learn so much more and accelerate my own growth. But talking about Jay-Z, I'll say this, that when I was growing up, all his songs resonated with me because I grew up in the inner city. I grew up with drug dealers. I grew up with murder. I grew up with all that. So that's kind of how you felt that kindred spirit,
The fact that you answered number one, the Jay-Z of today, shows the progression of our culture.
Right.
It gives us hope that we are doing that. Now, I don't want to go into like a political, but when Obama became president, what people said was it was more relevant than him being a good president was now that the Black community could say, I can now be a president of the United States.
Right. Change the mindset.
I want in our lifetime to one day say we have a Latino, president of the United States.
Absolutely.
We want to go to the White House and we want to listen to reggaeton and some Hector Lavoe. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a second. Hispanics are the majority in this country. Our buying power surpasses any other ethnicity. What is it? What haven't we put together yet? I have my opinion, but I want to hear yours. What is it that we haven't put together yet that we need to galvanize each other? Because I believe there's so much micro segregation because you're from Nicaragua, I'm from Puerto Rico. If you go back far enough, we're all from the same place.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you think is keeping our factions separate?
So let me tell you this. One of the things that the qualities that I instill in myself are, one, the ability to realize who I am, because who I am allows me to realize what I'm capable of. And then once I know what I'm capable of, I surround myself around a circle that can help me execute that. Okay. And then I'm obsessed on execution. Not obsessed on inspiration, I'm obsessed on execution. So you apply that to the question you just asked. What's missing is that you don't have a group, because we're still fighting that tú eres boricua, yo soy nicaragüense, that's Mexican. Why is it for humanity, for society, and then for the culture? And then what do we got to do? And then let's be obsessed and not walk away when shit gets hard. So I believe that right now there's so much diversity within diversity that until that's solved, no nos podemos unir to build a foundation to build up.
And all that is ancient bias. It's just bias.
Did that make sense?
Absolutely. To me, maybe somebody will have to rewind it a couple of times to get it. But I
didn't know you were so funny, bro.
But people have to understand that, like the way your mom, I can only use myself, right? I can't speak for everybody. The way my mom saw the world, I realized was because of where she came from and her struggles, and that became her reality. And then I may not, and going back to what we spoke off camera, like if we have a difference of opinion, but we're in somebody else's house, we humbly hold our opinion because, like you said, I have a decision, I have an ability not to come back here and hear this bullshit anymore. If that's how you feel. The way I view the world was different because of the opportunity I was given from her hard work. So later on, those two ways of point of perspectives had clashes, but I understand her. I don't have to agree with her, but going back to how this works within the macro, where we have all these different ethnicities and they're coming from like different little countries and they're all coming with their own little biases. And what people have to understand is, look, I get it. We all have issues, but if we really look for the common denominator, we're all human.
100%. 100%. And the funny thing is, I mean, you can't even top that. That's like Billie Jean, the song. I wouldn't remake it. What you just said is, somos la humanidad primero, right?
Yep.
But I also want to say this. Check in the mirror to those extremists, because the real enemy is the extremism, right? Shout out to Gary Costa because he says that, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're going off emotions that they either read or they're being told about. They didn't experience what your mom, what your grandparents went through. They didn't experience what my mom and dad to leave Nicaragua because of fucking bullet holes in the wall. Mm-hmm. So that is the only time I'll go out of context and say, yo, bro, I get DMs all the time. Commie this, socialist this, right? I'm like, what do you know about that? Have you lived in Cuba? Have you lived in Venezuela? Have you had to leave Nicaragua at 26? You know? Y entonces yo le digo a la gente, take the time to understand, man. You know, you don't have to judge, but if you take the time to understand, if it's in you to really care and get along, do more listening than talking.
And if you want to understand, educate yourself. It's really that simple.
I mean, education is like a different misinterpretation or interpretation, right?
Right.
But what I tell people is like, if you really want to understand, do more listening than talking.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You know. But
yeah. Hear where I'm coming from first before you. Yeah. Instead of jumping to react, take it in and then respond, right? Because most people just reacting. Oh yeah, everything's emotional. I'm like, well,
you know what I do? Hey, yo, check it out. You know what I do before I go off on somebody, or before I confirm on somebody on business? I try to see what they've been going through the last 2-3 weeks. I try to see where they came from, their upbringings. I'm not always right, but at least I'm doing a little bit more fact checking to understand.
Yeah, get some more context behind the story, behind the person.
Someone's going to react that day on an experience they had that morning or a history they overcame. Kind of like what you were saying, your mom is like their experience was a reality. So I actually have been doing that. I'm not perfect. I'm not an angel, but I do take that extra step to try to understand people. And I try not to raise my voice either. Even though I should be like everybody else. Even though, who I am.
You know, being Latino, we're predisposed to screaming all the time. I grew up in a screaming house.
Yeah, well, me too. Well, not, you know, like we grew up in a house of obedience, right? So remember, we're martial artists, right? My father put us in Taekwondo. We got our black belts. And it taught you not to fight. It taught you self-defense, respect, and discipline.
Right.
So I apply that. I try to apply that. And so nowadays when people are on Pokemon, rather than hitting the gym like your son or self-defense like you, right? Yeah. And that's the difficultness. I'm not going to clown those kids, but I am going to say, like, pops and moms, you know, give them that extra ability to succeed by putting them in a team sport where they're growing their friendships, their relationships, growing their interaction, and then put them in something they can excel, you know, whether it be music, because you don't need, if you suck on a team, you'll be made fun of, right? So if you kick it, play piano, do it. Mm-hmm. If you do boxing, do it. Self-defense, right? So my father never went to my basketball games.
Oh, wow.
Because my dad, acordate que, you know, he's like, eso no te va a ayudar cuando estés viejo. That's not going to help you when you get older.
Right.
And he made a good point. I look back now, fuck yeah, I'm glad he put me in karate instead of supporting me in basketball, because he was like your mother. His experiences was his reality. He didn't know about, all right, he can go to college and play professional sports.
Get a scholarship. Yeah.
And I don't use that as an excuse why I never fulfilled that dream, because I know, going back to what I said, my capability. And so I love the fact that today I can, you know, defend myself. I'm confident. I'm disciplined. I got to whoop ass. I can whoop ass, right? Mm-hmm. And you avoid it at all costs. But that's the upbringing that I had, was my parents' capacity of their own reality from their experience. I learned that from you today.
No, I think what being prepared and using your martial arts background. I had another guest of mine. I'll send you the link. He was 4-time world champion martial artist, my boy Joe. And I think, and my kids both have black belts also. I couldn't afford karate when I was a kid, so we didn't do that. But I believe that discipline creates a quiet confidence. And I think the quiet confidence is what most of our new generation is missing, because they haven't endured. They haven't endured.
Well, because their validation is now going on social media and getting a DM.
Right.
And so you got to recalibrate that. But I also believe social media is good, more good than bad. Mm-hmm. It allows us to connect. It allows us to educate. It allows us to learn
It allows me and you to clap for each other from afar across the country through store. I mean, if we just use it, I'm just using this as an example, right? It just allows us to stay in contact, and we don't have to talk every day, but we feel like we're touching base. Or that guy in New York, he got my back. He likes what I'm saying. And that all helps.
You're right, man, because I do, unfortunately talk to my parents every day on WhatsApp when I should be calling them. So you got to always, like I said, it's always my fault. It's always your fault. You have to hold yourself accountable. And that's one thing that I think people need to do more. Mm-hmm. Is being held accountable rather than pressing the buck or finding a reason or, como para no tener éxito. You're always making excuses. I don't make excuses. Yeah. It's just my fault.
It's that victim mentality. Everybody wants to be this is why it doesn't work out for me. Well, it doesn't work out for you if you don't think it will, because you're not going to take the necessary steps.
You dropped another gem, victim mentality. I just posted yesterday was Celia's birthday. Celia Cruz.
Yeah.
Celia Cruz overcame a country being disowned. She couldn't see when her parents passed. She overcame an industry full of machismo and salsa. She had no scandal her life. She had a successful marriage. That she never played the victim mentality. I have Achieving Dopeness, a shirt of the 6 people that inspire me: Anthony Bourdain, Bruce Lee, Hector Lavoe, Michael Jordan, Jay-Z, Celia Cruz.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful.
Fuck that victim mentality, bro. Now, like yesterday was Latina Inequality Pay Day, right? This system, you have to understand, was built upon machistas and racistas.
Right.
So we're not going to change because we're good, the society, the system. Mm-hmm. So what we can do is empower ourselves and teach our Latinas to create businesses, to have mentorship, to have access to capital. Because now you're not falling prey to the system. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, I am not for the situation it is now, but I also know the way the system works, and this country doesn't change for the greater good all the time. But what we can impact is our fellow sisters, aunts, mothers, abuelas, tías, businesses, and including us.
Just by supporting them.
We're including them too, right? At the end of the day, they're brown just like us. So I was telling people, listen, the system is fucked up, but don't dwell on it. The future, let's try to change it. Hopefully the system will change, but what's going to happen quicker is we can impact someone to create a successful business so they can lead by example, and then they're going to create other people that are impacted by them to create their own destiny.
Yeah, they're inspiring. They're inspiring. Yeah. And we can't talk about how we have it hard, because the people that really had it hard were the people who get lynched or get on the back of the bus or trying to go in the front of the bus. And, back in the 50s and 60s, to me, that was the real hard, because your life is on the line. Now, somebody sends you a nasty text, you're offended. Right. But back in the day, they will hang you on a fucking tree. Let's not forget, that long ago.
Rosa Parks. Mm-hmm. You couldn't vote. Slavery.
Mm-hmm. Not that long ago.
Yeah, they had it hard, and we have to never forget the past, but we have to realize that what our main thing is our main thing, and that is change the future.
Right.
Focus on what you can really control, and that's the future.
Well, I'm going to unbox what you just said. Focus on what you can control, and that's you. Right? Yeah. Don't focus on homeboy fulano and allow. Focus on, I want to make this world a better place. I'm going to be the change that I want to see. Whatever that is. If that's supporting a kid, like I sponsored my son's basketball team, the AAU team. Some kids, his crew, they're pretty good. They got it. But some kids don't have it like that. So I was like, let the uniforms not be the reason you're not playing. I was like, everybody's playing. And those are the things that I do. And it's not for applause. It's just, because I remember being that kid who couldn't afford a uniform, or, I couldn't, like I told you, I couldn't do karate. There's no money for karate.
It's funny. I'm going to shout out to Juan Toscano of the Warriors. I asked him what his foundation. Yeah, I asked him what his foundation's about, and I got to meet with him, man. And so hopefully he'll get to see this. And he said to me, "I just want to make someone's day better, because I remember how I had it growing up." So there wasn't this crazy mission statement. Mm-hmm. It was literally, if I can make someone feel different one day when they're not happy, because I remember growing up through that. then I've done my job at the foundation. And I said, that's genius.
Fucking word. Yeah.
Because we, as adults, we forget. Let's go back to how we felt as kids. Mm-hmm. We didn't feel good. So whether it was a backpack or the lunchbox that made us feel equal with the kids that we were around. So he made me think like, oh shit, you're right. Let's not complicate and recalibrate happiness and what we're trying to do. So if I can make people smile and wear bendecido because that's what their grandparents told them, now they're fashionable wearing it, then that's cool. You know, I was one time at Cipriani's in Grand Central, and I see a dude wearing "I Can Become Lo Que Yo Deseo," one of my shirts.
Yeah.
So I'm having a martini. I get up, I run over. I say, "Yo,
can I take a picture?
That's a dope shirt. Can I take a picture? Where'd you get it?" And he's like, at first he was like, "Hold up," and then he's like, "Wait, yeah, no, it's on Tito's." Yo, that's you, right? So that was cool. And it wasn't for the sale, like you're talking about the story of sponsoring your kids.
Yeah,
it was the fact that someone bought it and said, "I want to wear it."
Somebody, it resonated with somebody. It resonated.
And I'm in the hood in Richmond at grabbing a burger, and I walk up and someone says, "You're Tito's Mundo." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
And it says, "Yeah, I got the Bendecido shirt and I got the Bendecida from my lady."
Yeah.
This hamburger's on me. I'm like, that was cool. You know what I said?
Inspire the world, bro. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we have accessibility to create our own happiness and to remind ourselves that we're blessed. So let's try to avoid the victim mentality and create the building mentality. Let's look at the similarities much better than the differences. And let's do more listening and talking than complaining.
Absolutely. I love amen, man. That was a fucking sermon, man. I fucking feel like saying hallelujah.
How do you curse after that, man? But listen, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Where do you think your show could be in 12 months? Social media, we have a different industry, right? So where do you think content creating, you, quien tú eres, quien sos, where do you want to be in 12 months, this show?
I have been approached already. It's going on a network, even though I only have 2 seasons. And I just look, I want to get in front of as many people as possible. The usage of YouTube with the generation preceding us is incredible. And I just want to interview bigger and bigger people because I want to show people that we're not all that different. That I had a really crazy experience in my senior year at college. I had to take a semester off because we didn't have enough money for tuition, and I got a job as an elevator man at this building called the Apthorpe on the west side in 79th Street. And in that building lived a lot of big time people. The chairman of American Express, Bernard Arnold, Nora Ephron, Sleepless in Seattle. I don't know if you know it. Nicholas Pileggi, her husband, Goodfellas. He wrote Goodfellas. Rosie O'Donnell. I met Rosie O'Donnell. Cyndi Lauper. I go on. A lot of big time people. And when I was hired for the job, I was told, they were like, look, you don't talk to anybody. You're sitting in the fucking elevator. They tell you what number to press. You press the number and that's it. But what happens is, and I'm learning this kind of myself now, as you start ascending in some sort of, let's say, celebrity, real human connection is, it starts getting scarce. Right. Yes. So eventually they're in the elevator, like, what's up, Omar? And I'm like, I was told not to talk to them, but eventually you start talking to them. And the one thing I learned from all of them, that everything is limitless. They're like, look, this is why I did this. This was my lucky break, which was somebody knew somebody that told them about me. And that's how I got on. And they all kind of said the same thing. They were like, oh, you're in school. What do you think you want to do? And at that time, I want to be a federal agent. I want to be an FBI agent. That was my thing because I thought it was cool in the movies. And then later on, I learned how much they made. And I was like, oh, hell no, how would I change my fucking life, my family's life? Like, it's not going to happen, right? It would have been more for me, but I had to figure out something to do to change my family. And that's where my entrepreneurship came from. That and also being exposed to the street entrepreneurs in the Bronx. And, that's what I was around. But here I am on 79th Street in a suit and tie, pressing elevator buttons for rich people. They're tipping you $20 to fucking go to the elevator from the 1st to the 5th floor. They tip you $20. And you're like, all right. Like, I was 17 at the time. I was like, okay.
You said something right there. Limitless.
Yeah.
That's a gem.
Limitless.
And there's a mindset behind it. So I want you to elaborate on that in the future on more shows. That might be your show.
Yeah. Limitless. Because truly, look, Armando, you know it. You're walking in different different, I wouldn't say road, different paths, right? You have different pillars going on. You have NAREP, you have cooking, you have sports, it's a lot of pillars. But the common denominator behind it all is that you're trying to inspire change in a larger way, right?
Yeah, from my passions.
Right, from your passions.
From my passion, right?
And
Ruben Blades said it best. Yeah, I started off as a songwriter, a performer, and now a politician. And each one of those things that he did helped escalate him to where he was today. I look at life as a book. If every chapter is the same chapter, it's a fucking boring book.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's why, I apply myself, because I guess, life's too precious, man. Mm-hmm. It doesn't last forever. So I look at life as a book. So I want people to, get one of those gems from me. It's like, life's a book. Your life's a book. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And each chapter is going to be a family.
In this chapter, it's called, and then, whatever the major theme is. I think what people have to understand is I believe in being anything being achievable within reason, right? Like, I'm not going to the NBA. I'm a little too old. But, maybe when I was a kid and I would have trained at 8 years old, who knows? But in business, it's here, right? The smart guy wins. And you don't got to be 6'5". You don't have to be you just be smart. You willing to outwork somebody else. Look at all the angles, analyze. But the big word, the art, I'm going to say it again, the execution part. Most people get stuck in the thought process. And they're like, oh, it's kind of abstract. It doesn't have to be abstract,
I think also it's important to be brutally honest with your circle.
Yeah, that hurts feelings.
You become an average of who your canvas.
Yeah.
So you got to be super, super on that.
Selective. And then, the people that you meet on your travels are not the people that are going to be with you or really are not going to be your tribe forever. They might be good for you for a certain point of your life, but you have to keep growing. And that's what I've seen in my personal life. I have friends from high school that we have nothing in common anymore. But if I see them, I say, what's up? I mean, when I was 15, we had something in common, but now, it's a little different now.
100%, man. One of my people I looked up to when I was a kid, I remember he told me when I was 17, he's like, that's your best friend? I said, yeah. He goes, he may not be your best friend. I was like, what the fuck you mean, bro? Come on, it's my boy.
That's my homie.
He said, life happens. So get used to the people around here may not be around for the rest of your life.
Yeah, be changing.
And if they are, great. And if they're not, that's fine too.
Yeah. And
that's true. Now he's still my best friend since 5th grade, Pero what you just said, someone told me when I was 17, and it's so true now. Mm-hmm. At my age. So
well, especially as we propel forward in our ascensions, right? Like if you have a plan to go to a certain level, and you have to be around people, I'll say it this way: you see the real fucking difference when you fucking around people that are like-minded like you. You see how things really happen. Like things could happen. Like everybody's pulling, like Jay-Z's line, right? Everybody's wealthy, so we'll be each other's crutches. If everybody's pulling weight, you have it off Friday, but your man did it. Your man took care of this. Yo, you're fucking force, right? And once you get momentum, it's a wrap, man. It becomes easier.
I was, one of my mentors, Gary Acosta. Shout out to him. And
shout out to Gary. I'll have him on the show if he accepts one day.
100. I was in Miami, and there was a filmmaker, legendary photographer, the Wu-Tang, Big Pun.
Okay.
And we kind of go at differences on the culture, kind of like what we're doing, right?
Right.
But you and I can have a conversation. Sometimes he feels like he gets heated, right? So he spent time with Gary and I didn't know how to communicate to Danny Hastings. That's my boy. Shout out to Danny Hastings. But there was a moment in the room where he's interviewing Emilio Estefan.
Okay. Gloria Estefan's husband.
Saul Trujillo and Gary. And I'm there and he says to me, and he's looking down. He's not talking to me. He's like, you know what, man? You're right. It's just that in my 30 years of the business, I'm not used to being around people who are building and collaborating.
Oh.
I'm used to the old mentality. And I clicked. Instead of saying, I told you so, I said, you know what? That's the reason sometimes we come off heated or difference in opinion. So why? Because I'm used to people like Gary, who's taught me to build, not complain. Let's not play the same game. Let's create our own game, right? And it brought us closer together. And that literally happened last week. So, Danny and Gary and I, we had a little moment because I was like, okay, that's what we're supposed to do, man, is bring us all back into center, not be on extremes.
Don't be scattered.
Because as you guys say, lo bonito, eso está cabrón.
Yeah.
You know, or en Nicaragüense, es una babosada, right? So, so I love these dialogues that you're having, and I wish you the best, and anywhere I can help out with the guests, man. But more importantly, you know, when it gets to New York, let's break some bread. Let's do that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna break it.
I want you to create a shirt, Limitless. I learned that from you right there.
You've been watching the HRN shit. You've been watching the shirts come out. Like I wear them for every.
No, I watch everything you do because that's how we learn. That's why I say social media is good. I don't turn it off. Just change the channel.
Yeah.
I have to watch it because you inspire me too, even when you don't know it.
Yeah, well,
you know, and that's why I always tell people, you know, don't post, upload stories, document your life because you never know who you're going to impact. You never know who you're going to make smile.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I travel, I do all this shit, but I just told you, I admire when you post your stories.
Oh, thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
You and your wife go on vacation. You got better seats than I do, you know, at Barclays.
Yo, but I tweeted about that because one of my boys said like, oh, you always there. I was like, bro, the first time I went to a game, I was like 12. It was a gift. And I sat all the way up top. And I told myself, I was like, yo, I'm going to sit on the floor. And you know,
let me ask you some fun facts on the fashion shit, right?
Okay.
Number one, so who's your favorite NBA team?
My favorite NBA team became the Nets before Kyrie and all that. And I'll tell you why. I was approached by a kid on LinkedIn. This is the power of social media. He was like, yo, I work with the Nets. Da, da, da. I was like, oh, that's cool. He was like, yo, I'd like to host you. So I was like, all right. It was the last game that Kobe Bryant played against the Nets. That's how he got me. So he was like, yo, come down. And I said, yo, make sure my seats are good. It'll be me and my 3 boys. I have my nephew and my 2 sons. I was like, because if I buy seats, they're going to be good seats. So don't give me no boat. So he sat me. I was right next to Irv Gotti, like a few big time dudes. We were chilling, had a great experience. I ended up buying tickets from him. But the reason I like the Nets, they grew on me. So wait, let me back up. So I bought these tickets for the Nets, but I was scheming on seeing the other teams. So guys, when LeBron was playing with the Cavs, the Lakers, like all those teams, that's why I bought the tickets to see them, not to see the Nets, because they were cheap.
100%.
They were cheap. They were cheap at the time too, because they had no all-stars. What I started loving about them when Kenny Atkinson was the coach was that you never knew if they were going to win or not because they never gave up. That's what I saw, and that's what I fell in love with. Because
did you get to watch Jason Kidd play?
Not live. Okay,
but that's my favorite player. He played for the Nets.
Okay.
Before Kyrie.
Okay.
And that was the Kenyon Martin days. So I'm with you on that. I like that. You never knew if they're gonna win. That's so true.
Because the Knicks, if you remember, the Knicks went through that shit. If they were down 10 points, it's a wrap. It's like they all gave up. They put that when Carmelo was on team. Oh fuck, we down. I'm like, yo, my man, it's a whole 3 more quarters to play.
It's funny because I won't go to a Warrior game. And I'm a victim. I'm using this as a slap to me. I didn't go for a while because we didn't know if they was going to win. We were used to winning, and I lost that thirst.
Yeah.
So I just learned that. But Dub Nation. I'm all Dub Nation. You like fashion. What are some of your favorite brands that you rock? Sneakers, shoes.
Sneaker wise, I'm Nike. I wear a lot of Jimmy Choo.
I know that. Yeah.
I like Gucci a lot. I just started kind of getting into like, all right, so November 14th is my birthday, right? And they're dropping the Air Jordan 2 Off-White edition.
Ooh, I saw those.
The Air Jordan 2 is the first pair of Air Jordans I've ever owned. So I've already I already called one of my boys who owns the sneakers at Tom, Dick, and Harry's in Brooklyn. I was like, yo, you got to get those for me. I was like, I don't care about you can retell me. I don't care. I need those sneakers. But what some guys don't understand is that like when I was 12 and I got my first pair of Jordans, they were $100. And I was so poor at the time that I didn't know what they were. My step-pops at the time got them for me. He's like, go next door. And this is a whole big thing. Like I can unbox this story more where my step-pops put me on with a lot of stuff where his friend owned a sneaker store and I started becoming treated like somebody. Like you go next door, get what you want. Don't worry about it. Just tell Timmy what you want. Don't worry about it. So he told me one time, he's like, go next door. They got a pair of Jordans there. Try them on, see if you like them, and you can take them. So remember, I was like 10, 11, 12, something like that. And I lived in the hood. I never had like expensive shit. And at the time, these were like the shit, the sneakers to have. So I opened them. I liked them. I put them on. I had them. And then when I went to school, you know, everybody knew what they were. And that's when I kind of started getting into basketball more and stuff like that, because I was omitted from all that, because I wasn't inclusive, because I wasn't allowed, because I didn't have anything. But now as you start getting shit, you start becoming more conscious and aware. And so that's why they're so special. I have to get them this year. So if anybody watches this show and get me the Off-White 2s, let me know, size 13.
Yeah, no, hey, listen, I only rocked the ones because I couldn't afford them when I was a kid.
There you go.
Honestly,
that's a fucking story. That's a fucking story. People don't understand like how that fucking resonates. In 30 years, tell me how you feel. You know, like you know what I'm saying? Like, that's big.
And we're two Latinos talking about sneakers, talking about J's, right? And so I get interviewed because, you know, I'm a sneakerhead, but I get asked to interview a lot on these sneaker politics and all these little websites. And I say, I'm not fun to interview because I am a cheap shopper. I'm a clearance guy. I'll go to outlets when it's discontinued.
Right.
Because I'm always going to be that humble kid. And I don't rock them to fresh them. I rock them because I couldn't have them back then.
And they mean something to me.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm always going to rock the ones, but I love your 2 story and I love my ones because, you know, the MJ impacted all of us.
He changed the game, bro. He opened the door.
Yeah. And I'm a Dove fan, but I can't wear, you know, other than the J1s, you know.
I can't wear no Under Armour sneakers, is what you wanted to say right now, right? I can't wear no Under Armour.
I say that because Steph might watch this, bro. Some of the Warriors might watch this, bro.
I know.
But yeah, no, I like that. All right, let me do this. The last meal on earth, what would it be for you? And then I'll answer mine.
All right. Yours is probably going to be a lot fancier than mine. Last meal on earth before I leave. Probably, and it's like my go-to. Penne alla vodka, grilled chicken on top, a little bit of cheese, and I'm good.
That's fancy. What are you talking about? Mine's a churrasco with chimichurri
and totones.
Right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. 3 people, dead or alive, you could have dinner with. Who would it be?
Dead or alive? That's a really fucking good question, bro. Wow. I'm not ready for that. All right. I got to put Hov there because I want to talk to him, right?
Cool.
Hov, Jay-Z.
Oh, yeah.
Got to put, he's up there. Who was passed recently? I guess I would want to talk to Stephen Hawking.
Nice.
Yeah, because he was way beyond his time. Oh, and nobody's gonna know who the fuck this is, but my wife put me onto this book called The Master Key System. I don't know if you ever heard of it. Charles Hannell. Charles Hannell, motherfucker, yeah. Charles Hannell. He's the Master Key System. He was the leader in the New Thought era, where you get Napoleon Hill, all those guys, Napoleon Hill, they're offsets of him. So he's like the fucking, he's the original. He's the OG of the New Thought era. People using their mind to overcome or creating reality or thinking limitlessly. To me, he's the OG, and he is somebody I would definitely have to talk to.
So I ask you those questions because it says a lot. Who you are, who you influenced by, or who you want to become, right?
Right.
Mine would be Jay-Z.
Of course. I'll go there with you.
Celia.
Oh, Celia, yeah, of course. Music.
Not because of what people talk about Celia La Vida es un canal. I think that's whack. It's what she overcame as with La Sonora Matancera those days.
Yeah.
And my grandma.
And your grandma? Okay.
And I say my grandma because she was the biggest influence, and I never got to cook for her.
Oh, shit.
You imagine a dinner table, you and I host a party with the 6 people we just mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
Now.
It'd be fucking interesting, I'll tell you that. Especially with grandma in the mix.
Yeah. My grandma, Celia, and Jay, and us. So it would be dope, man. But yeah, those questions are always, to me, interesting to find out about people.
Yeah. Because you don't know what people...
Because I've asked that on my podcast. Sometimes people come with some fucked up guests. I'm like, geez.
Like who? Like Hitler? Like somebody wants to, or Hannibal Lecter or some shit, some crazy shit, some fake person.
I think it was just less impactful people.
Okay.
Oh, let me ask you this. Gary asked me the other day, bro, and I felt like a coward the way I answered it.
Gary Costa?
That's who I am. I know my capability. So last question to you is, who would you rather have been, or who would you rather be? Muhammad Ali or Michael Jordan?
Damn, bro.
Yo, Gary got me good on this shit, and now I'm getting you good.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Appreciate that. I mean, look, man, who doesn't want to be the fucking GOAT, right? Who doesn't want to be Michael Jordan? But I will say, Muhammad Ali, what I love about him, what I fucking love, that I wish I could get more of my manhoodness from him, was that he stood up for what he believed in, no matter what. Dollars and cents, fucking belt, suck my dick, I don't care. This is what it is. And I'm going to have to roll with Muhammad. I love MJ. If he ever watches it, wait, let me finish. And if he ever watches this, yo, shout out MJ. I really love you. But MJ was, and I don't know if this is how he became so successful, because he was very quiet. Mm-hmm. If you notice that, he was very quiet.
That was the reason for the conversation. And let me tell you why I answered the GOAT.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I'm strong enough to have dealt with what Muhammad did.
Right.
I admire Muhammad as a GOAT too. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm going to answer MJ. And I'm probably a little disappointed in myself because I know my capabilities, and I don't know if I would have been strong enough to deal with the motherfucking country against you.
Yeah.
Your own people against you.
Yeah.
And what he gave up. But I had mad admiration for Muhammad. So this was not who we think is better. I took it as to who am I more capable of being, and so much respect to Muhammad as a GOAT.
What path can I walk?
And much respect to MJ for staying quiet and making a shift when it's needed most. So back then he wasn't open. Why wasn't he open? Because he endorsed a black politician. Look what he's doing now, donating millions for research on injustice. MJ, so too late to do the right thing.
MJ is a super fucking good example of my belief, which is change through ownership. Right? Yep. He wrote his path, and maybe we'll never know, but maybe Michael Jordan was the smartest guy in the room when he was like, yo, I'm gonna just chill, I'm gonna keep building myself. I'm not there yet where I need to be to really make an impact.
Of course he was the smartest, and you're right. The high odds is that he was thinking that. Mm-hmm. You don't become a GOAT because you're talented on the court.
Right.
Yeah. Smart here.
Yeah. I mean, 6 rings, can't deny me. $1 billion company, can't deny me. Now Jordan's his own separate brand from Nike. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Can't deny
Jordan brand. Yeah. Jumpman, right?
Yeah, Jumpman. And then he got his son. I don't know if you know his son. I forgot his name. He has a spot called Trophy Room. I don't know if you looked it up.
Yeah. Larry Jordan.
Yeah, everybody's doing, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's given a legacy. And my man's an NBA owner. How many black owners we got?
Speaking of Trophy Room, shout out to Fat Joe for Up NYC. We got to go out there.
Where's that?
We got to get Fat Joe.
But where is that? Where's his location?
Uptown. I think it's like Dykeman area.
All right, Fat Joe, if you're listening, I need those J2s, man, Off-Whites, man. I'll pay full retail. If you need to make a little extra on me, I'm okay with that, but I just need them.
I love what Fat Joe's doing with social media. He made his money. Think about it. He made his money in rap, a label, and now he's leveraging his voice to reason. And I'm not saying to sway, to reason. And he's in that center, bringing people together. When he put together that verse, that IG live with Jermaine Dupri and Diddy, mm-hmm. that blew numbers, bro. That blew numbers when Versus is a platform. So Fat Joe, that was a breakthrough on the power of authenticity and access that we have. So social media is not bad. Don't turn it off. No. Change the channel if you don't like the show.
Right.
So shout out to Fat Joe on that. We got to get Fat Joe on the show, bro, because he is kind of what looks like to be our Jay-Z.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's doing good things, and I think I follow him a little bit, and I know that me and Joe, not that we ran in the same circles, but we both from the Bronx, and at a certain time when Pun was alive, and so we had the same car, and I'll leave it there, and egos were, got the best of me. Like, I was like, nah, fuck that, I don't want to meet them. Like, like that type of thing when I was young and arrogant and had a little money. But what I love about him now is that he's truly authentic. He's talking about, when he got in trouble with the taxes, he got in trouble with it is what it is, man. This life happens. Yeah. Right? And it doesn't define you. It refines you. It refines you. So yeah.
The journey is better. When I say he's Jay-Z-ish, it's the journey that he's following, right?
Yeah.
We know Jay-Z is a billionaire, right? Yeah. And not to say not to say Joe is not right now, but it's the same path. And so we got to look at those and support it and be behind it and learn.
Yeah.
And in that journey that he's taken, it's like Gary Vee said it the other day. It's like, it's not really if I can really buy the jets. It's the fucking journey.
Yeah, of trying to. Right? What can I accomplish on my way there?
So shout out to Fat Joe on that, man. But yeah, no, man, it's a dope show, bro.
Yo, shout out to Fat Joe. Shout out to Armando Tam. Armando, if somebody needs to contact you about NAREP, about cooking, about sports management, where's the best place to get you?
Tito's Mundo, Instagram. Best way to do it. Best way to do it.
Tito's Mundo. All right, guys. Yep. Thanks for watching. Armando will talk. Thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you, man. When you're in New York, we're on the floor at the Barclays. Let me know. Deal. I'll make it happen.
Done deal.
All right, brother.